This is a pre-trip on 744. We're going to start by lifting up that hood and checking all of our fluids. If you come in here to the driver's side by your foot, you're going to find your hood latch. Pull that up. And you come around to the front. You lift up the hood. In here, you'll feel a lever. Slide that to the left. You'll be able to pop it up. We'll go left to right, passenger to driver. Here's your washer fluid tank. If you don't see any fluid in there, you got to top it off. It's important that's full. Check your battery terminals, make sure they're all tight and not corroded. Right behind your batteries, you're going to find your transmission and your oil dipsticks. So we'll check those. Your oil you check while the vehicle is off. It's the only way you can do it. So you pull it out, wipe it off, stick it back in. Just till it's flush, pull it back out, and now you're looking for your level. If you look on here, you'll see that it's just at the farthest dot or puncture, right about there, which is where you want it, and that's good to go. Make sure you wipe it back off before you put it back in the hole, and then you make sure it's all the way down. Your transmission, you check while the vehicle is on and running and has been running for a little while, but you won't be able to hear me because of that fan. It'll be kind of choppy, so I'm going to check it and show you where it's supposed to be at. Same thing, pull it out, wipe it off, put it back in, take it back out. That's about where you want it to be. I had it running for a little bit, so must have been enough, but you want it in these little perforations or dots. That's your hot zone. And if you read the dipstick, it'll tell you where it's supposed to be at. Up here it says do not add, down here it says add, and then on the dipstick itself it says check it while it's hot. Right to the right of your dipsticks, you're gonna find your oil fill. That's this thing right here. You twist that off if you need to refill it. It takes 5W20. And if you look directly above you on the hood, it'll tell you 7 quarts if it's empty, which means you're doing an oil change, and it only takes Merc-On transmission fluid. If you look down the front of the motor, in between the motor and the fan, you're gonna see a black belt. That's your serpentine belt. Make sure it's not frayed, worn, damaged, or hanging off of one of the pulleys. That thing can cause a lot of damage if it comes flying off. Come around to the right of the radiator. On the driver's side, you're gonna see this little container right here. This is your power steering fluid. You're gonna wanna make sure, if you can see in there, that fluid's in between max and min. If you look down just behind your power steering fluid, you're gonna see a rod in there. That's a part of your steering column. You're gonna wanna make sure that rod is nice and tight. Give it a little shake, it shouldn't wiggle. Here's your air filter box. Make sure that's all tight. Right behind that is your coolant reservoir. Make sure it's in between max and min. The levels for that are on the back side right here. If you can't see it, kind of wipe it off. And if you still can't see it, you can take this top off, but it is pressurized and that fluid can be very hot, so be careful. Right behind that is your brake fluid reservoir. Once again, make sure it's in between max and min. You can open that up if you can't see it. And then right into the inner fender is your fuse box cover. Make sure this thing is on there. If you look directly below you, you're gonna find your tires. I'm gonna do 1 set of each. Check your treads. Make sure if you stick your fingertip in there, it comes halfway up. Check your lug nuts, make sure all of those are tight. Take a peek inside of your rim to check for your rotors. You're looking for anything that might be wavy. That's not good if it is. If you look behind the tire, you're gonna find a spring. Make sure that thing's not cracked or corroded or, just looks like garbage. Right behind that is your shock. Make sure you don't see any oil dripping down the bottom half. That could mean you blew your shock. Check all your tie rods and sway bars and all that good stuff. Make sure it's all tight and ready to go. And if you look down the bottom part of your tire, right by the floor and the inner rim, if you see oil dripping down there, that can mean a bad axle seal. Coming down the line, here's your duals. I'm gonna do 1 set of duals. Duals mean you have 2 tires, so you gotta check both tires. Once again, check your treads, stick your finger in there, tread should come halfway up your fingertip. Check all your lug nuts, make sure all of those are tight. You're doing this for both tires. Look in between your duals, make sure you don't see any rocks in there. That could possibly come flying out or destroy your tires. Check your leaf springs. These are these big things right behind your tires. You're looking for any cracks or damage to those. And then once again, you're looking for the axle seal leaks if there's any. All four corners of your truck should have a PSI rating. That's if you have a low tire or a flat tire, that's the PSI you're gonna fill it up to. Here's your gas cap. This truck takes gas, don't put diesel in it. Make sure your cap is on and tethered and tight so you don't get anything in your tank and you don't lose your cap. Your mud flaps shouldn't touch the floor and they shouldn't be too high up to the bed. That's a decent length. Make sure they stay that way. If they get worn out or broken, stop at a truck stop and replace them. Those are also important to have. Coming inside the cab, before you even get in here, you're gonna look in the door jamb and there's your weight for this truck. You're looking for a GCV or GVWR, which is right up here, gross vehicle weight rating. You're gonna see this thing is 13,300 pounds. You're gonna need that information when you fill out your driver's log. Right behind your driver's seat, you're gonna see a red box in there. Those are your triangles. Those are important to have if you have an emergency or if you get stopped. Here's your seat belt. Click that in there. Make sure that works. That's important. You should also find your log. It'll be somewhere in the driver's vicinity or in the cab. This is the checklist we're all going through. So we completed under the hood. We're working on around the vehicle. Unusual sounds you hear when your vehicle's running or you're driving it, you're listening for anything that sounds weird. Same thing for the exhaust system. If this thing has an exhaust leak, it'll be obnoxiously loud. In-cab stuff is mostly lights and everything you see that surrounds you. So when you're getting in the cab for the first time, take a look at all of your glass. Make sure nothing's broke, cracked, or damaged. And then you're going to go through and check all of your lights. Your keys should never be left in the vehicle like this. There's a job box on the back of the truck for a reason. Stick those in there at the end of your day so you don't lock your keys in your truck. Right here to the left of your steering column, you're going to find your parking lights and your headlights. We're going to turn those on. This joystick, also on the left of the steering wheel, controls the wiper speed if you twist it. And this button on the end of it controls the washer fluid. Make sure that sprays. Up on top of your steering column are your four ways. If you push that button in, we're going to check those in a minute. Right here on your dash, you're going to see this is your height, 9.5 clear. Make sure you're paying attention to the road you're driving down. Here's all your radio settings. And then down here is your defrost settings. Click those on and make sure everything works. Down here on aux 1, those are your beacon lights. It also powers your aeroboard controller. If you turn on the on-off button right here, you'll power it on. Wait for it to load up. And I'm going to stick double arrow on so I can check most of my lights. In the field, you're going to go through every one of these functions to make sure this is saying what the aeroboard is saying. So I'm going to hit select, go up until I see double arrow with those. And then I'm going to hit enter, and then it should turn solid. And that's how you know it's displaying what it thinks it is. I'm going to go through just the double arrow. In the field, you're going to go through all of them so you can make sure they all display what they say they are. Down here is your CB radio. This is the power button for it. It's a little blue button off to the right. Press and hold that for a little bit. Hopefully. Anyway, this is your on-off button. Make sure this thing turns on when you get it. Apparently, it's not turning on right now. I think the battery is starting to become dead. But you want to make sure that's on, and this thing says channel 2. Then you're going to press the walkie button and see if you can talk to your coworkers. This thing just changed. Alright, so I guess we're only going to check 4 dots. I think I'm running low on power, so we got to do this quick. So I'm going to show you all your lights, what you have to check, and what, you know, where they all are at. Here's your turn signal, your low beam. Your high beams are also in there. You'll know if they're not on if you turn your high beams on and that bulb is out. It's two different bulbs with the same housing. Same thing for this side. You have headlamps on the top of your truck. Those all have to work, and you have a beacon just behind it. That's got to be blinking. You have marker lights right here on the passenger front fender and also on the passenger rear fender all across the back. And your license plate light is located under your driver's side brake light. You're going to see it's glowing white. As you can see, air board needs to be blinking, and you have beacons up on top. So once again, go through all of your air board settings, make sure everything works properly. You have another marker up here on the driver's side. I do believe my truck just died on me, so I'm basically going to run through and show you everything you also need to check. So when you're completing this checklist, please make sure you're really thorough about it. Your brake and reverse lights, please do it with another person. It's a lot safer that way. Your high beams, you can turn your high beams on by clicking this towards you. It's your left joystick. That's what turns your high beams on. So we got to make sure those work. Your horn, that would work if I had power. You can kind of hear it, but you got to press that to make sure it works. So once you go through all of these, you're going to check all of those boxes. All of these are checked, and all of these are checked. Then you're going to go through your driver's items, make sure you have your proper driver's license on you. This is just a normal driver's license. You don't need a CDL. Your med card you always have to have on you, and your proper PPE. It's a spray vehicle, hard hat, gloves, glasses, long pants, boots, socks, shoes, etc. Make sure you have those on you. Your toolbox is normally located in the job box. That's not required for DOT, but we like to help you out with it in case you have a breakdown. And make sure you get a good night's sleep. Brake self-adjusting doesn't apply to this because it's a newer vehicle. You don't got to do that. Once again, your GC VWR, that's found in the door jamb at 13,300 pounds. And your height is found up here on the dash, right about there. It's 9.5. Any deficiencies, which means what's wrong with your truck, that's on this list. If you find anything wrong, you're going to put it in this box and you're going to notify your supervisor so you can get it fixed. Then you get to sign your life away, saying that you did everything on this list and you know what's wrong with your truck. Hope you have a productive work day. See ya.